What's up, everybody? My name is Tilz, and welcome to what is a Rust podcast. I haven't done one of these for a while, so if you guys are one of a new subscriber to the channel, it has been a while since we've done one, and essentially what this is I have people from the Rust community in terms of YouTubers come on. Like, today we have Keyworth and Synthetic Kill, but today we're going to be every time we do one of these, I kind of try to discuss a different topic. Now today, what we're doing is literally, it's been a year since I produced a different podcast called What's Wrong with Rust, and you'll see in the title, we're running off the same topic, because at the minute, Rust currently has one of its lowest play totals of players right now that it's had for years, I think. If you hear us refer to Synthetic Kill as Phil, his name is Phil. Lovely Phil. But yeah, so we're going to be jumping into it. I've got some topics to discuss. We're going to go through them. We're going to have a little bit of discussion. If you guys want to talk about it in the chat down below, in the comments, that would be awesome. My friends, which do we think is the #1 issue with Rust right now? Keyworth, why are player figures so low? Go.
I think it's... Personally, I think it's a mix of things, right? So it's a mix of just... I get not a bad system, but something that not everyone agrees on.
See, that's the thing I want to say right now before we get any further. Rust, to me, when we did the podcast a year ago, I loved Rust back then. I've loved Rust all the way along. I've been playing Rust for over 2 years now, and there's never been anything wrong with it.
Before you, what system was that? Was that the one where it was just scrap?
When I first came into it, it was Blueprints.
It was
no. I meant when the last podcast.
I think we were XP, just coming out of XP.
This isn't XP, I don't think.
No, is it Blueprints? So
I think it was.
I just want to make clear that Rust is still one of, if not my favourite game, because it has the most time I've ever played on a game in it. But play figures so far at the minute are so low. Why is that? Why are people being turned away from Rust right now?
I think it's just like you say, like we've been talking about. It's such a grind. Like, people haven't got the time.
Well, that's the thing. The scrap grind, isn't it?
Yeah,
Phil,
it's such a grind.
Phil, what do you think?
I agree with Keyworth on like the whole multiple aspects of why people have left. Like, put it into perspective, which I think this podcast is vital right now for the not only the YouTuber community of this game, but as a whole as a gaming community. Since leaving early access, 11k plus players have stopped playing. They've only recently, in the past 30 days, actually started gaining players back, and that's only 2,000.
That is mad.
Now that's depressing. That's depressing not only on a gamer side, because I enjoy this game. I always rant and like bash on the game, but I will admit I love this game.
I love it.
Was that like because it came out of early access, or was that just?
If I was going to pin it down on one thing, even though it's multiple, if I was going to pin it down one thing, and this isn't a bash against the devs, but it kind of is, because they need, but they're a small team. I love them. I love everything that they do. It's their vision. It's their game. It's Helk's vision. It's everyone's vision. I feel that they personally, and I've talked to Gaz about this and multiple people, they're developing a game that they haven't played. I want 1 month where they actually play on an official server and realize the 3 main things that I feel is a majority of what people complain about.
That's
grind,
what a lot of people say.
costs, and hackers.
That's what a lot of people say, isn't it? They love the devs to actually play a wipe, which I completely get, because that would be good. But I get that they don't have time, because they are actually developing.
They are making it.
But there's enough of us. Just as an example, if you were to pick a YouTuber, like, they're obviously, like, Phil, you know Holmesy. I mean, okay, this is a pet peeve of mine, which I'm going to voice now to the community while we've got a chance here. I feel the community update is a nice idea, but very limited in that it chooses the same people every week. I'm sorry. There are certain YouTubers, I don't want to name any names because I don't think it's fair, but I don't think they make content that deserves to be on there and represent the Rust community, but they're on there every week, And I feel it would be really nice if they chose smaller YouTubers to expose a little bit more of the game.
That's what it used to be like.
Exactly, it used to be.
Like
tiny
you and I
YouTubers.
used to get on when we got on that way back when. It was like this massive
That
thing,
was
and then
everything
every
to us.
week,
That was
yeah,
everything.
it was.
I've never been.
You're
Like,
right.
I'm not.
Have you not?
No. I wouldn't class myself at all as a big YouTuber back then, but back then I was tiny, right? I had
Yeah, same.
800
Your
subs,
Yoka video.
Yeah, like and that was a massive thing, and it was but then equally back then the community update was a massive thing. Like that got me like 20k views. These days you're lucky to get like 2k views.
I feel they don't look at the smaller YouTubers enough, and I think that's half the problem because I mean we're completely going off the topic here, but as a point, I think it's so hard now to start in the Rust community as a small Rust YouTuber because even the views of I'm not calling myself a big Rust YouTuber now, but
Yeah, you are.
thanks, Benny. But even my views and the level of views that you see on a Rust channel now at sort of even my level have dipped in the last month or so based on the player figures because people just aren't interested in the game as much anymore. So people aren't playing it, people aren't watching it, people aren't bothered anymore. And obviously it would benefit us as a YouTuber community if the game sort of built up again and it had a bigger basis. Now I saw today that it's on sale.
It is on sale for like £7 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 75% off. Great
Crazy.
way
It's
for all the
crazy.
hackers to come back now.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, more money for the hacks.
It's got to be 75% off to build up the community again. I'm
But
sorry, that is
that's the
And that's
Steam,
after
that's the
leaving
Steam
early
summer
access as
sale,
well.
though. Like, there's a lot of like Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition is 65% off, and it's down from whatever
that's
it is, like
fair,
32
but-
quid. But
right. Okay. Well, we're talking about incidentals here, right? We're going to move on because
Yeah.
I want to try and bring this back to the topic. So, my main issue, I think, which is the problem with Rust right now, is the scrap grind. Right. So you've got to go out of your base and you've got to hit. I think this is a big problem with you, Phil, isn't it? You've got to go outside of your base because no. I'm saying it because you were a big fan.
You calling me a base camper?
No. What I'm saying is,
Calling me a roof camper? Come on, bro.
you were a big fan of hitting a barrel, getting a gun out of it, and you've been a campaigner for that for a while. Like because actually Kiwith got me into Rust, and that is what got me started. And I got started in the BP. The blueprint system, where you can go and hit a barrel, find a rocket, find an AK,
C4 and shit, yeah.
hit that barrel with a rock, get an AK, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Now you can't do that. But to be fair, I was a big fan of the XP system. I knew I was going to get rewarded based on the amount of Rust I played. I knew what I was going to get. So I knew at the beginning of a wipe, if I played X hours, I was going to get this gun. Now it's kind of a little bit more like chance, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's literally like you've got to go out and you've got to hit X amount of barrels to get it. And like, for an example, I was playing group yesterday. There was 3 of us. We'd hit load of barrels. We've got a python. We were pretty fucking happy with ourselves on wipe day. We took our key cards to launch site. We were buzzing, and then we got rolled on by a group twice our size and got absolutely cucked. And we lost everything. We lost all of our guns, all of our key cards, everything. And I like the idea of Rust whereby it's a risk to go outside of your base, but I hate the idea that once you lose it all, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't got enough scrap to learn the pythons we had, but we then lost them, and we're back to square one then. If we'd learnt them, fine, but we didn't have 250 scrap.
It's lacking the... What I loved about Rust was back in those systems, back in the old blueprint system, was the luck. Like you could go out, hit a barrel, right, and get let's say you found these days a python.
Yeah.
And you get that. I don't know if many people watching know the old system, but the blueprint system used to be you could make something a certain amount of times, I believe. So you get the blueprint for it, and it's only like, let's say,
that
6
was a
blueprints.
very small amount of time that was in, though, wasn't it? That was that was like a month or something. That
But I loved that. Imagine going, hitting a barrel, and you've got an AK twice. You get an AK,
that was
a double AK blueprint. That would be so sick. It's missing the spontaneity that Rust used to have, where you could go outside, you could find a random AK whilst you're naked, and you could just hose down a group of 3. Remember the Zuckles videos? Remember them? Where he used to run around naked, right? And he jumped in. I remember this one. He jumped in a compound, and there was like 5 guys just stood there AFK. He just downs one, gets his AK, and just starts hosing them down.
Yeah.
That's what I miss, man. That's what I miss.
That's not Rust though anymore, is it? Like, I think the problem with Rust when it went sort of downhill was that bit when Helk said that it wasn't a survival game.
Yeah, it was a PvP.
It was a
game.
PvP game. That for me, I'm not saying ruined Rust, but it tarnished what Rust was.
It is a PvP game too. I'd say it's
a PvP survival game.
Yeah, it's a PvP survival game.
It's a hybrid. Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
but
on my view on the subject of like its current system right now, scrap grind wise. Before these keycards and when they were announced, I was adamant that I was not going to enjoy these, and they were going to be more of a hindrance of farming.
Yeah.
I'll admit I was wrong. I
fun.
personally fucking love the keycards.
I really like it. It's made it. It's once you get a new keycard, you're good.
Yeah. It's given that aspect of like what Keyworth said of randomly. Instead of like going out before these blue cards, it was right. I'm gonna hit these at X amount of barrels, get the amount of scrap, and then go to a launch site to then hopefully get that gun to then use that scrap on. Now with this, you can do both of those at the same time, along with having a nice little mini game of all right, now put this fuse box on, I'll put the blah blah blah, swipe that card, and then if you go to military tunnels, you have that aspect of not only RNG elements of I wonder what I'm gonna get, but you're gonna have the aspect of having a little mini game, and also another little mini game where it's like as if you're playing a bot version on Call of Duty. Like it is fun to kill those scientists, and even if you don't get a single elite crate, even if you don't find a single elite crate in military tunnels, you are bound to get something good out of that scientist. There's like
I hear they dropped MP5s, right?
Baz 12's MP5s.
I saw in your latest video, Phil, they dropped an MP5.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Right, okay.
It's the go-to place right now for loot solo or any group.
So anything. See, I think if they just reduced the amount of scrap you need for sort of the lower tier stuff, like 75's fine, but the jump from the level 1 bench to the level 2 I think is too big. So if they change that, but okay, so we'll move on from the system because
one more thing before you say that: 250 scrap with 250 pieces of metal for a ladder, which is basically wooden rope.
That's fucked.
That needs to be changed down. That needs to be changed down, or at least the default blueprint. Come on.
Well, I think the fucking.
That's another point I want to bring up as well.
Yeah, go on.
The building. They screwed the building.
Oh, that was one of the points I've got on my list.
Oh, okay. We'll wait for that.
No, wait. Okay. We'll come back to it in a second. The second point, let me just react. My fucking screen went dead there. Let me react.
Yeah, mine went to sleep. I had to reboot it.
Okay, my second point, which is a quick one. Crafting times.
I know you hate this.
I fucking hate it, dude. I joined a server. I got enough sulfur, but you've got to craft the gunpowder, the satchels, the bean cans, and then the satchel charges. Takes fucking ages.
I decided to do like an experiment. Like I decided to start recording as soon as I started like crafting all the essentials from gunpowder to then bean cans to then like the satchel charges for 4 doors. It took around 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe even longer. Like the amount of time you could be doing something more fun than that.
Find me another game that has that sort of element where you have to take a break and go and do something else.
The only other games I've played that do are fucking Clash of Clans, where you can pay for gems to boost up your waiting time, or you can wait a whole day to play again. It's the same.
I'm sorry. Okay, so we've got right. So we'll link it to the point of the fact that nighttime is fucked. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say it's
got...
bugged.
Yes, it is. Why have we got to wait 10 to 15 minutes for fucking nothing? We've got to wait in your base. You've got to wait in your base.
I love nighttime, right?
No,
Just
I
because...
personally love it, but I also personally hate it because if anything, nighttime for a majority of the players on any server is craft time, not nighttime. It's craft.
Whenever I
It's
see
half
nighttime in the chat,
If you can find your way through the fucking
screw
base.
nighttime.
Yeah, exactly. If you can
I love it
find
'cause
your,
I can
if
be
you can
sneaky,
fucking
right?
find yourself to your boxes.
The amount of
to
times
get
I've
your
been in
loot.
my base with no light source, just lost, and I've literally had to put down my mouse and keyboard and just leave.
And you see, no. The worst
I
thing
put
is
a
when
15-minute timer on my phone, alright, go for a shit.
the worst thing is when you see open door and you're like, God, I hope this isn't my front door. that's what it is.
Like I'm like, oh, I know where I am in my base. I spin round and I'm expecting like my cupboard or a lamp,
Yeah.
and then it's like open campfire, and that can't be right. So I move to like go like that, and then it just says open campfire. I'm like, how? How is
And then
this
it's morning, and then you have your fucking foot up your ass.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just fucking yourself in the corner. That's exactly what it is. I'm sorry, no. Nighttime.
I do that on a basis.
I
I
don't
like
wanna
nighttime
say-
outside. I don't like it inside.
I don't want to say.
I like it
that-
outside, I don't like it inside.
I don't think Gamma was good when that was in, but at
You
the
mean
same
the whole
time,
exploit thing? Or...
yeah, the exploit thing. But at the
Yeah, I
same
used
time,
that. It was fun, but it was obviously like it needed to be getting rid of.
We just need night vision. We just need to be able to craft night vision goggles.
Put some fucking goggles in.
Yeah,
That's all
just
it
fucking
needs.
whack some goggles on that.
Wearable
Out you
night
go.
vision
You can have some night vision goggle fights. It's like
Sorted.
daytime fights, but it's just green.
Or make weapon flashlights more available.
yeah.
That's all it
The
is.
flashlights are great. Were you guys aware of this bug a few weeks ago where you could have a flashlight on a crossbow and use it, but no one else could see the light
I
source?
remember you.
Oh, wow, I don't
telling
remember
me
that.
about
Fuck.
I don't know if that was isolated to the server I was playing, but everyone had one on and no one could see the light source except for you.
Oh,
It was
wow, that's
silly.
No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen. I don't think I heard anybody like actually make a complaint about that. To be fair.
Maybe it was
Right.
just a server, I don't know.
Right. Okay. So next point on my list, boys, is on your point, Ben. Building
The
restrictions.
building, yeah.
Yeah, the building. So I think we've seen a lot of builders from Rust. Builders. Like, we've seen, obviously, bigger YouTubers like Caseymo. Just on the smaller side, there's been a couple of names, Twisted, Lloyd's, etc., etc., etc. I don't know where Taco Tuesday went, but whatever.
Pepper the Red, is he still doing?
I haven't seen a video from him for like a year, maybe, I don't know. But the building was so restricted in that, like, when you could stack walls or
Oh, God.
any sort. I mean, it was awful if you were
It was
looking at the base to try
Yeah.
and raid it.
But if you
Yeah.
made it, you felt like
But
a
if-
fucking impenetrable god.
Yeah, you have 40 doors in a one by one, just
Like,
freaking all opening.
that fan door system where you could put like 5 doors in a 1x1 was
Yeah.
mad. But they took that out. You can't do that anymore, which is mad, because I get it, because it wasn't fair on
It was
raiders.
an exploit, essentially.
It was an exploit, but at the same time, why can't you do that? It's like that idea that they take skill out of the game. Like, I've played the game for 2 years. Why haven't I got an advantage over people who have played it for a month?
Because
So,
you're
like,
bad.
That's the idea.
I'm pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrible at the game.
No, Phil. What I'm saying is, I've earned.
You should have experience to
I've
know
got
things other
experience
people
to,
don't.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I know
for new people.
to build that, opposed to
Well,
other people
well,
that don't. So why don't I
Weird.
get that advantage?
I agree that on a PvP and like aspect,
Yes,
but build
yes.
wise, I don't believe that's justifiable
Well,
because of the exploit of like door.
Yeah.
I don't
Imagine
know that it
the
should
door
be
stack,
the
but with
door
the
thing.
upkeep. Imagine the door stack with the upkeep.
Yeah, you
that
have like
would be-
800 doors and a 1x1, and it's impenetrable by rockets or
That's
chopper.
fair, that's fair.
But it's impenetrable by 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I think going back, it's a different sort of. I've just pulled my sock off. It's a different sort of building. But remember building priv. Remember back in the glory days of building priv, where someone could
Don't get me started on that.
someone could put like a fucking someone who's just joined the game, no clue about TCs, or someone who's even played the game for months, right? Has put a TC on the first floor,
Yeah.
and you can crouch down by their base because they're built like on a hill like that. first of all, TC, you're now here. No build priv restriction. You could build your way in because they've put windows and they haven't got window bars on, but they've got window shutters, and you jump in. Oh, so many times.
That opportunity when somebody builds on a hill, and you could build a raid tower.
That was honestly my favourite thing to see. I'd be running around, I just look, and there's a base on the hill, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I can taste the loot.
Essentially,
I miss that aspect because like literally every naked now like knows how to make a fucking masterpiece of like a vase, and if someone fucks up,
right
you should be able to exploit
that bunker base thing with the roof, and you push it in.
Okay, guys. So if anybody doesn't know what that was, essentially back in the day, if you were stood outside of a building privilege radius, you could actually place stuff like a foundation and a wall and stairs.
You could place anything
inside of the building radius. So the circle would go around the person's base, but you could stand outside of the building privilege circle and build inside of it. So you could build a massive tower inside their building priv, and then you could just jump into their base, essentially. So nobody would actually like put any effort into honeycombing their roof, because you wouldn't used to be able to build ladders on it, because ladders weren't allowed. And you could essentially just build a huge tower about 10 meters away and jump in. And that used to be the best fucking thing in Rust.
It was so good, because so many people didn't know about it, and it was it was glorious.
When Spoon Kid did used to upload, he like grew up his channel on that, didn't he? Spoon Kid, like he just exploited every idiot with that building system, like the amount of like...
What's his name?
What?
Ramsey,
yeah, he was the best. Check your privilege, that video.
Yeah, that one video, and then that blew up his channel because he was like, he exploited the privilege. Right, okay, well we'll move on, but we digress. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. That would going back on the old day, right? We need to look at changes from the devs in terms of unnecessary changes.
Oh boy, here we go. Time to crack the fingers. I've got my script ready.
Does this look like a dinghy boat to you?
Changes you couldn't give less of a shit.
Sorry, about. Just as a caveat, real quick, if Facebook is watching, I love you.
We love you, but at the same time, we don't need dinghy boats. I don't know about it, but I hear from Reddit, gunplay is fucked.
I wouldn't know. I never get my hands on an AK.
I've never noticed the difference, but at the same time, the idea is, I think, it's either one way or the other. So there's either a hugely drastic change. So you either go from, we've got the XP system. Oh no, we don't like that. Let's completely change it. Let's go to a component system. Oh, we don't like that. Let's go to a component blueprint system. Fine. It's either a drastic change, or it's a fucking stupid change that no one gives less of a shit about. Like, we're getting a fucking compound boat or something. I don't know what we're getting this week. Fucking inflatable boat. I don't know.
A dinghy,
I think the boats are a really good addition. I like them. They're fucking
No, the boats are fine. We're talking about these new ones, these fucking inflatable ones. They're apparently going to have scientists on, and the scientists are going to be patrolling the scrap piles in these different type of boats.
No, that was
I think that's going to be fucking fun as fuck, that person.
That's how I get scrap. Awesome. I got PvP. What am I supposed to do?
Why can't they be on a normal boat? Why have we spent a month developing?
Why can't it be free?
You know what would be cool though? Like, it looks like it's inflatable. It would be cool if like you could like shoot it and like just make it fucking like capsize and like.
Nah, that won't be a thing, Phil. They've spent a month developing these things. You can't pop them in one.
I'll have you know that's bulletproof rubber. Okay.
Go on, Phil. What's your script on? Go on, hit us.
All right.
Hit us.
It's kind of like a mixture of like what you did to address and like introduce like the whole. Like, some updates are good, some updates are like not needed and pointless, and whatever you want to call it. But I wanna take you guys back. Let's do like a little memory lane like transition. I want to take you back to July of 2017.
Yeah.
The launch site has just been added.
Everyone's buzzing.
Everyone's buzzing. It is absolutely OP as fuck.
Yeah.
277 plus people joined from previous month, which was 4,000, which is a good little boost. Immediately the next month, 4,000 players disappear because one, that monument was way too OP. You could go in there naked with no rads whatsoever and come out with 5 rocket launchers if you really wanted to do it, with no consequence, no like counter reaction. Radiation wasn't even a thing. Bradley wasn't a thing. So they don't do it. So they don't do anything for an entire month again after people complaining about it. So another 4,000 people leave. They then add during that month the Bradley, which let's be honest, I love Bradley because he's cute, but he is probably the most pointless AI in this game right now. He does not do anything worthwhile in this game. He does not do his job correctly. He doesn't know how to traverse the terrain whatsoever. And then they decided to, instead of nerf the monument, nerf Bradley itself because he gave explosives away. So he was now he's even more pointless than what he was before.
So what does it give? Like, if you take Bradley out, what does it give?
It doesn't give you C4 rocket launchers that you use on it. It just gives you like ammo or armored doors or guns and that.
Yeah,
right. Now touching more on the subject of launch site. They still don't change anything. It's still OP as fuck. They then decide to redo this entire system instead of focusing on the launch site, which I think the launch site was the main reason why they changed this current system, which is now BPs and scrap. They don't do anything to the launch site, and they make an entirely new system. How you were talking about how it drastically went from BPs to then scrap to then blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because of this one monument, and then they had the fucking audacity, right? They had the audacity to then nerf the fucking launch site after they've changed the entire new system. What did they do the first month after adding the new system? They make radiation totally different and sink through rad suits. And then they decide to nerf the loot crates on top of the roof to not spawn every 30 minutes. So they've changed that one monument that caused 2 months worth of 8,000 plus players to leave
to jack off,
to then change it after they've made an entirely new system.
That
one monument changed this entire new system, which caused from February to May 11,000 players to leave.
So you're saying
the launch site was the root of all of our problems?
I say it was, yeah. I say launch site was the root of all problems, but also the cause of this new system entirely, instead of focusing on the monument itself. They made a pointless AI Bradley, and then they nerfed the actual monument where it's not even worthwhile anymore. It's still not worthwhile. You can get way more in military tunnels than launch site now.
I get
military tunnels is OP.
I get that with the launch site, but 100% the puzzles have rectified that issue. 100%. The getting the red key card takes a lot more effort.
It doesn't. I had one today.
Yeah.
It might be. If you know where you're going and you're quick enough, and you're right at PvP, you can get it pretty quick.
Well, I don't know. We played on a busy high pop server last night.
Well, yeah, I guess if you're playing on I play on like 50 to 100 man. So
I mean, we were on a 300 man server last night, and we got cucked at launch site. We got
European survivors.
It was, yeah. We got fucked, dude. I'm not even having fucking. It was the most depressing thing you've ever seen in your life, dude.
But then at that point, is it not like saying to people who either A, aren't great at the game, B, are new to the game, or C, just don't have the manpower on servers like that, they can't get a red key card, or at least the loot. They can't get it because it's locked off by clans.
I like the idea of the key cards in that it does make that division between either you know what you're doing / skilled players, between noobs, right?
What's the fuse books?
But at the same time, then you've got the complaint, which I'm not saying is me, because obviously I know what I'm doing. But in terms of if you are a new player, which is what they're getting at when they do those stupid tutorial things. If a new player tries to join the game, how does a new player know how to get keycards, how to get higher tier loot? They don't. They don't. So I get the problem of the developers. They have to try and make a game that's accessible to new people, because obviously they want to keep making money by selling more copies of the game to new people. Like, as a point to you guys, I've had so many more comments on my videos recently from people saying that they don't own Rust. I've had I can't even stress to you how many comments I've had recently.
So many people saying, especially people saying, I wish I could play Rust, but my PC can't.
But
run
my
it.
PC can't run it. I can't. I have.
I'm on the Reddit now, and maybe 20 out of the first 40 posts on here are
Okay.
optimization.
I get
FPS. Can I run Rust on this?
So on average, I get between 200 and 250 comments a video. Say.
I thought you were going to say frames for a second. I was just like, fucking hell.
Oh, I get 140 frames on Rust.
I get 144, but if I look at launch site, it will
Get
drop
90.
to 60, and then it will go back.
If I go to Outpost, if I'm launch site, it's fine. Outpost, I take a fucking dip to about 70.
But it's not even. It's RAM and it's CPU usage. It's basically 100% CPU usage
I
and
spend
100%
so much money on both of those things,
Yeah,
and it still doesn't run it.
I'm not like showing off, but I have top of the line both of those things.
So
And
it just can't do it.
2K resolution at a solid 144 frames, but Rust I'm struggling for 44.
It can't do it. It takes the piss. All right, okay, we'll move on from that because I want to take your opinions on a minor point that some people would say is a minor point. Lack of a narrative to Rust. Now I've been playing a lot of The Forest. If you guys have been around my channel, if you are proper people that were like watching some of my different videos that aren't just Rust, me and Kiwith have been playing a cracking series of The Forest recently.
It's been great.
I've had so much fun playing that.
It's been refreshing.
It's been
very
it.
refreshing.
It's been so refreshing. Phil, have you ever played The Forest?
I've played a few hours. My first
Okay.
experience was
Okay.
my mates that had their own server and they deforested the entire fucking game and there was just one big bridge.
Okay, it's the gameplay is irrelevant. More to the point, I feel like what's that fucking film where the guy can't keep his arms at his side? It's like a fucking anyway.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's a Will Ferrell shit. Yeah. Anyway, Forest. It's open world survival. While it's not necessarily open world, like in terms of multiplayer, there's sort of a narrative to it. So you know the world you're in. Why
I can
am
hear a
listening
bit
to
of an echo,
myself?
sorry.
That's
Yeah, I can
bad.
hear it.
I'm moving back. I was leaning forward.
While
Can you still hear it?
No. So
No.
while there's a narrative, I like the idea that there's a narrative, so you're sort of working towards something. Now, Rust, I understand it's not the sort of game that lends itself to that idea, but I would love it if they filtered through a little bit more of an idea of the backstory of Rust. I know Shadowfrax made his video, and he sort of accumulated sort of all the backstory that he sort of picked up from
I
other
fucking
places.
loved that video. I loved
Yeah,
that video so
that was
much.
great. But why can't we have that from the developers? Why can't they give us a little bit? Just give us a little taste. Now, in my head, right, this is between us and people listening and whatever. Why can't they put in every month? I said this to Yuki with a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember. Just a little bit. Why can't, on the sly, they don't put in the dev blogs every so often at a monument in one place, just put a poster or something that says
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Easter eggs. That is the one thing this game is missing. Literally every other game, right, has Easter eggs that the community actively hunt. Battlefield is a great example of this. They have something called the
Reddit
Phantom
would
Protocol.
Reddit would explode.
They explode.
Yeah.
They have a whole Reddit on Battlefield dedicated to finding these Easter eggs, and they're so complicated.
Exactly.
It takes a month.
Put it in one of the rooms or a different room on each proc gen server or something. Just one poster that it was. If you ran past it and you didn't know what you were looking for, you wouldn't even notice it. But it says something about how they'd been there or the tests they were doing.
Yeah.
The company.
I love that idea. It would give so much
Something.
character to the game because
so
that's,
all of a
that's what the
sudden-
game is lacking right
all
now.
of a
The game is
sudden,
like the
You're
game
going
is,
on the server to go and find
Yeah.
a poster or an Easter egg.
Yeah.
So you're going to every rad town to try and
Imagine
find
every
this.
content creator going Easter egg, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Rust
Imagine-
story finally here, blah blah blah. Like that would bring in so much
imagine-
attention, and then it would bring in so much more player base because then there would be that lack of basic narrative of right.
That's
I
the
need to
idea.
spawn in. I need to get everything before everyone else and kill everyone. Imagine one time, like you said, where they just randomly add anything and someone They don't say it. They just randomly do a Reddit post. It's like,
randomly put it in.
don't be too alarmed. But when I killed a scientist, they started talking in Morse code when they were on.
All of a
dead.
sudden, one of
Imagine
the
that.
scientists is holding a note that says something on
just
it.
one,
just
on
one
the whole
of them,
server, and it will spawn once every like I don't know, 4 hours.
And it says on it something like "Go to the airfield."
Or it's like got coordinates, but it's in like a code.
And there's like a secret location.
And there's a
let's say,
buried,
like
somewhere on the map, it leads you to like this buried stash, and in the stash is like, I don't know, a magazine or
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is.
Or like a new gun that they didn't even say or anything. Like you can now
a
craft an
gun
actual
that the
LMG,
scientists
an
were
RPG.
making. Imagine that shit.
It doesn't matter what it is.
that was-
Just something that gives an aspect of a little bit more. Like that takes nothing, but it takes nothing to implement and nothing to announce. But to us as a player base who are dedicated to the game, that is everything.
Gives us something to bond
sudden,
over, because Rust is
we
so
have a purpose
separated
again.
from it.
And all of a sudden, the community comes together, and then on Reddit you're seeing, oh, I found such and such at Airfield in
People would be loading into servers together on Discord to find and solve this shit.
Exactly.
It would be
all
so.
of a sudden, you've got
That would be YouTuber subscriber like villages where they'd be like, right, we're going to be an archaeological team where we have to find
there's
this
100 people
Easter egg.
running around in a group looking for.
I would love that. I would personally love that. I'm more like a PvP like orientated channel, but I would entirely base like a solo or like a duo series or where like trying to find the secret of Rust. Like imagine that in the title, the secret of Rust uncovered.
I'd be doing streams. Join this server, and we're gonna find the Easter egg today. And it'd be that, and
that would build up the community and the player base so much. I love that idea.
It would bring them together because Rust is so, for lack of a better word, salty at the minute. Everyone hates everyone.
What you're looking for, the word you're looking for is linear.
It's got linear.
Rust is so linear. Every wipe is the same. It's boring. It's trivial. It's linear.
Like imagine going to an airdrop, and in a random airdrop is a radio, and out of the radio is playing Morse code, and you translate that Morse code into some coordinates, and you go there, and buried is like whatever, some loot.
Doesn't matter.
A new gun that they didn't tell you about.
A new gun, a piece of armor. No,
like a piece of clothing that's just.
Imagine this: a unique skin
skin
that you can't buy.
Yes.
That would get me. Imagine the amount of imagine then you could sell that. People would be spending hours trying to find that.
A note that says something like along the lines of test subject 69D. Exhibits signs of cannibalism, say something like that. We'll put him in population with the other people.
That would give a bit of incentive of what those backdoor tanks are in military tunnels as well.
Sent to Island 7 or something.
And then all of a sudden you're like, shit, we've got 7 islands to deal with, and then all of a sudden there's other people, and then you've got a little. I think that would, to me, I've thought that for a long time. That would be the best thing to this game if they just started actually drip feeding us a little bit of a narrative. I definitely think
the amount of people that would be dedicated to like, oh my god, I can't wait for next month's update. Oh my god, I can't wait for next month's update. People would be on the edges of their seats.
Brand new Easter eggs every month.
And then they could even dedicate like a small like person to like. It appears that you guys have actually cracked the code, but really have you? And then just like do like little snippets of like clues or like. But have you checked blah blah blah? Have you checked the top of Outpost recently? Blah blah blah.
So then you think you've got it, and then all of a sudden next month they change it, so it's something completely different, and it turns.
You know what I would like now that you've talked about this? Imagine with the recent new Bandit town that they're adding. Imagine where like they did like an event where like the Outpost and the Bandit had like a huge AI war.
Yeah.
Like the scientists fight like the bandits. Imagine that. Like everyone's like, "Holy shit! Look at all the loot. Let's go!" Like, or even just watching it.
So just say the goodies, the scientists, and there are bandits.
Yeah.
And then the scientists developed or had test subjects, which were us, the Newmans, to try and create, say, a race of slaves or super soldiers or something to battle the bandits, something like that, or anything. I don't know. I'm spitballing. or maybe it's the bandits that have made us and tried to make us in their image or whatever, try and make an army or something. I just think it would just be
check what I just sent you a link on.
Idea.
That's a link to the Battlefield 1 Phantom Protocol. It's been going on since Battlefield started, and this is just one post of a whole Reddit dedicated to solving these Easter eggs, which take months.
Yeah.
And look how it brings people together. People make fucking spreadsheets. They just they make code.
Time to this shit.
You know what you just made me realize as well. I think this would bring in an influx of new players. Imagine these people that are obsessed with finding Easter eggs in Battlefield coming to Rust.
They'd lap the shit up.
Mm.
That's definitely it.
I personally love that idea. That's probably the best idea I've
That's
ever
the best
heard.
idea anyone's ever had.
Yeah.
We should work for Face Punch.
we'd be the roleplay team where we do the story and everything.
The role.
Give us 2 weeks, we'll be making us a third boat.
I can't hear you, Tilz.
Yeah, I thought you've muted yourself, kid.
I'm so sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Stunning. Sorry, I was messaging that skin guy. Right.
Oh, right.
Okay. So I'm gonna move on from like a narrative because I want to move on to a small point where I fucking hate, and I've sworn in this podcast, I think for the first time.
I don't think it's the first.
Why is the rad suit
I know what you're going to say.
stronger than wood armor, and I'm sure it's stronger than even some metal armor, isn't it?
It's stronger. So I did a video a few days ago now where I had full high quality metal armor on.
Yeah.
No clothes, and everyone was like, "Dude, you know, if you don't have any clothes on, a rad suit is stronger than that." And I'm just like, "What? That
That's
can't
stupid.
be true."
I'm sorry. If you've got a rad
the-
suit on, that is made of fabric. That
And a rad suit's like millimeters thin, bro.
Which has
That
got
should-
duct tape on holes.
that should be the weakest fucking item in Rust. That should be less than burlap. I'm
It
sorry.
should. It really should.
If you're
Because
going-
imagine the fights then
idea-
inside of a rad tank.
Exactly.
If
The
you've
idea
got-
you're going to rad towns.
Someone could cough at you and you lose half your health.
Exactly. You're going to launch site with your red key cards in a rad suit because you
And
have to.
you're putting it all on the line.
You're putting everything on the line. With one bullet, you're dead. You might as well be naked. It should rad suit should give you no protection whatsoever, other than the same as
Radiation.
naked.
Yeah.
It should be what it is. It's 50% radiation, isn't it? It's 50 radiation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It should give you that and that alone. I'm sorry, it should not give you any more. There shouldn't be groups of 3, 4, even solo players running around with that over wood armor.
And it's been going on for months. It's like,
It has,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
well,
you've got
my solo series that I did, I the only time I ever wore different armor was at the very start where I didn't have a hazmat, and
That's the
then
thing.
at the very end where I had high core armor.
Back
The
to
thing
your
is,
point,
though,
Phil, of the developers playing a wipe. I'm sorry.
yeah,
If you play a wipe and you realise, and you put that on, and you realise how stupidly overpowered that is, you take.
because I didn't even really know. Like I've been playing.
well, it's the
non-stop.
exact same stats. If you had road sign and then the hoodie and the trousers, it's the exact same stats as that. So why waste on road sign and a hoodie and everything
Stupid.
and all that scrap when you can just find it in a box?
Because you
they're
can
abundant,
find
they're
like you
abundant.
can find like you can find like 7 in 20 minutes if you go around just
I've
looking
got
in
chests
boxes.
full normally
Yeah.
on a solo wipe.
I shit them
normally
out. I'm
when
like,
properly, yeah.
don't need that rad suit. Throw it away.
Yeah, if I've got other stuff to put in a box, I'm
Yeah.
just throwing them out. It's stupid. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be what they are. They should be, like I say, you should be. Might as well be naked. You're only You're only putting that on to go to a rad town, and then like Ben
But
says,
you say that I've headshot a naked before, and
Yeah,
he has
no,
not
no.
died.
Oh yeah, I've
Okay.
headshot naked with an AK and the fucking walked off like, bruh.
on my list next to clothing health brackets rad suit is inconsistent damage. Now,
Yeah.
the bow is fucked these days. That does no damage. The crossbow doesn't do enough damage. The crossbow nerf didn't need to happen. no, but
He's like a Rhino Crunch is like a hardcore like Christian now, isn't he? He's like he does
he?
he
No,
does
he
like
plays-
Bible verses on Twitter all the
yeah,
time now.
no, he plays. I don't know what he plays.
He's a changed man.
Yeah,
I
but
haven't-
we're
I haven't
not talking about that. But I don't think so. The damage is inconsistent in Rust. We're not going to delve into gunplay because I think that needs a podcast on its own merit. Weapon damage needs a podcast on its own merit. But bows, if I headshot a naked with a bow,
I want him to drop.
he's got a drop. I don't care
That's
if he's
an
got 100
arrow
health.
through his head.
Yeah,
Like it renders in, going through his head, and he's just running around like.
I don't care if he's got 100 health. If he's naked, he
You know what I would
should
love? I would love
sorry.
I would love where like no, if you're not wearing anything, you shouldn't survive a headshot. If it's a riot helmet, you should like be like close to death. If it's a coffee can, it should be a bit more. But if you get hit in the back of the head, remember that myth in VV days where just more damage if you shoot him in the head in the back of the coffee can because it has a hole in there.
That was bucket helmets, wasn't it? So if you hit a bucket helmet in the front of the head, that was death. It was a coffee can or metal face mask if you got them on the eyes.
Yeah.
That was like an instant because it missed the helmet, but they took that out, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was a
They
myth. It
changed the
didn't even
hitbox.
exist.
Did it not?
No, it was just a myth. But I would have loved that to have actually be a feature. Like
That'd
because
be
coffee
sick.
can at the back,
sick.
like your head is bare. Like it's like you might as well be naked at the back with a coffee can.
Yeah.
So, like,
imagine
maybe
like a
it should-
naked like trying
Maybe
to
they
like
should put that in.
touching back on like people that are like bad at the game, like or like you guys, you were struggling compared to the higher, bigger group. Imagine having that advantage of like, right, I wonder if this guy doesn't know the fact that this coffee can is basically useless if I come up behind him with a pipe.
Yeah. But then they changed
Like,
the
we-
hitbox to be like the whole fucking face.
I'm sure we've all played PUBG. I'm not sure about you,
Yeah.
Phil, but we have. Like
I've
maybe it
played
should be
it.
like
I haven't
that.
played it recently, but
We
like,
haven't
I've
played it
once.
recently.
Maybe the helmet system should be like that. So a wood helmet, for example, could take one
headshot.
bow shot to the head, and then it will break. But if it takes something higher tier than that, it will break instantly. Or like what's next after that? A bucket helmet could take one pistol bullet, or anything higher than that, it wouldn't take it, and then so on and so forth. You know, it should be like a tiered system where you can take higher caliber shots to the face, and
Depending
still
on
have
the-
and depending on the level of it, and still have a chance of not being dead.
Dead. Right, dudes, I'm just gonna dead.
See you later.
Okay, so are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll move on from that
Gladiators.
to a little bit of a different tact. Because obviously we
What was
discussed
that?
the idea of Ben putting his phone down. Don't worry, you
Yeah,
get
sorry,
that a lot.
I slam it on my desk.
He just throws it down like.
I don't.
I've got a big point that I would like to raise just as a community point, but I think the developers have tried to implement ideas of more of a role play aspect. So we had the vending machine, we had shop fronts, we had ideas and elements like that, right? The chairs, the tables,
Oh, the amount of fun I've had with those.
spinning wheels. But it's so hard to do with the idea that you've got people. Yeah, I mean,
Doing the complete opposite.
every time you go to try and talk to somebody, they kill you. But like, if you want to run a casino, give me the option, give me the element of running a casino. Give me sort of a 50-50 game. I know you've got the spinning wheel where you can make it yourself, but give me something that is literally 50-50.
But someone clicks it and they have a 50% chance of dying or living.
Exactly. If I want to run...
I want a saw house in Rust. I want them to walk in that room and not know if they're leaving alive or fucking dead.
Like, not even a casino. Give me more options of a roleplay aspect. And I guess I say this as a YouTuber, but there's a lot of but there's a lot of people that play Rust for the interaction.
Yeah.
So why can't give me more games to play with people? Give me more options. I want the option where I can invite people into my base, my area, whatever, and we can play a game where it's 50-50 between the two of us of who's going to win, and one of us can bet X, one of us can bet Y. Make it so there's an option where that is a necessity. So I put in 50 stone,
But
like a shop front. I put in 1,000 stone. They put in 1,000 sulfur, say. We've both got to click accept, and then there's a game at the end of it which wins us the other person's thing. Just put that in. Give us something to play for. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but what would stop you from, because he's in your base, right? What would stop you from, if you lose, just pulling out like a fucking shotgun and just...
Okay, ignore the fact that it's
See,
in my base.
I'd like that type of like aspect like implemented, but then I know that the devs could just come about and be like, well, that's your choice. It's a sandbox game. You can make whatever you want, because that is all down to basically personal preference and like personal choice.
Give us the option to actually do it though. Like
I know, but you could just choose that yourself. That would be their counter argument. It's like, well, you could just do that yourself. You've got a spinning wheel, put fucking spray paint 50 stone or spray paint.
Because if you really want to roleplay on Rust, you can go to a roleplay server, right? We've all seen the Mr. Moon, the candle maker can. We've all seen that, right? You can, yeah, that's.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Okay, so you've so you've said we've got to do it ourselves. Or the devs.
I'm not saying that's the
devs could put that in, but don't worry, Phil.
Would say that.
Don't worry, Phil. We've got new boats. That's what they've been working on.
And apparently, scientists on my sacred trash piles in the sea.
Yeah, they're fucked now. They were the solo man's dream. They're gone.
They were.
Solo players, go fuck yourselves. I like Gary's tweets on Twitter.
Not necessarily, because they have the AI scientists on the roads that don't attack unless you attack. Maybe that's what they're doing with the water as well. Maybe because it's just random barrels in water, isn't it?
Is
like, why would they be that protective over it?
Is that even right? Because I swear the scientists
I don't know.
shoot you if you're naked.
It would make sense to do that, because like the loot in there isn't like up to par where scientists would be like, you know what we need to do? We need to fucking spend military ammo and training on protecting those oil barrels in the water.
I don't know. I found a pickaxe once.
I've never found anything better than an axe or a pickaxe in the sea. I've never found a satchel.
I found fire arrows.
Okay, fire arrows. I've never found a revolver or a satchel or a bean can.
No,
I don't know if they're useful there, but yeah, in the water.
Oh, yeah. I've sank my chair down.
They need to make those underwater fucking things like more rewarding, because like
they do. They're
when, like you'd like
you're going down there.
Scuba dive, and you make them go up, and you find like the best thing I've seen is a boat.
Yeah, you're going down there for like 5 minutes out of your way to untie this thing, which takes like what 20 seconds to untie, and it floats up.
Yeah,
and up you go, and you've got yourself an empty can of tuna. Well done, mate. Go and drown yourself over there.
Okay, I don't want to.
Got anything.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be a dick per se, but I mean I guess it's an influx of myself. But I feel sometimes the devs put in elements of this game to cater to YouTubers.
E.g.?
That is the fucking boat thing where you can swim down. I think that's a clickbait title for YouTube videos. If I was playing this game properly, why would I go out to a boat if I didn't have to then swim down for no fucking reason whatsoever when I could go to a fucking road and hit one barrel and get the same fucking shit?
It adds, no pun intended, depth to the game, doesn't it? Because they're slowly adding to the sea. Because way back when, the sea, you used to look at the sea and think, I'm not fucking going in that you pile of shit. Like there's nothing for me there other than to run away from someone who's trying to freaking AK you.
Have either of you seen any videos on Stranded Deep or played Stranded Deep?
I've seen videos on Stranded Deep.
Hashtag broadbent.
Hashtag broadbent.
Right. Hi broadbent. So there's a lot of like sunken wrecks.
We do need sharks. We do need sharks. When I'm swimming around down there, I'm like, fuck. I wish there was a shark. Well, I don't because
I don't. I fucking hate sharks.
Imagine falling off your boat. When I fall off my boat, I'm like, oh, whoops. Let me just uncapsize it after 20 minutes of trying. I want to fall off my boat.
Like a fucking shit.
Yeah, I want to fall off my boat and be like, fuck, I'm gonna get gobbled up by a shark. Get me back on that boat. I want the fish.
And then they should change the loot tables of those boats, like more risk of getting your fucking face knocked off, but then be like, you could get an AK though.
But yeah, you could get you might get a fucking
What's your fair? I thought
a Chinook.
Chinook.
I'm just spitballing.
Just falls out of the water.
Just drag out of a box a whole Chinook into your inventory.
Pull it by the fucking I was going to say the horns. They don't have horns.
Let's move out of the fucking realms of fantasy.
Check that tweet I just... You sent me this the other day, Elliot. I can't get enough of Gary's tweets.
Gary's tweets, man. Right, okay, we'll move out of that. Right, so Phil, I mentioned this to Ben before we started. This is my last point on my list before we get into your sort of just open suggestions. But this is something I wanted to mention to you guys. A problem that I've found with Rust for a very long time, if not the entirety of the time I've played Rust, is fake wiped community servers. So you go on, you click on the server list on Rust, you get into your homepage, you click servers, community, whatever it is, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, and then it says wiped today's date,
and
you
like an
join
hour
it,
ago.
And an hour ago, and you join it,
and you're greeted. You're greeted by the biggest compound you've ever seen.
It's
and
bullshit.
Someone taking the fucking heli with an M249, and you're like, well,
that wiped an hour ago. Alright.
Let's try again.
Why can't we implement a system, devs, if anybody does watch these videos, whereby we can search via wipe date, we can search via group size, we can search via pop, and we can search via wipe date, wipe time. Why can't we do that? Why isn't there a system? Because obviously when you put in the title when the server wiped, so you put today's date, whatever, 22nd of the 3rd, 2018. Why isn't that a setting on the actual server settings, so you could click at the top, search, and then it would list the servers that have wiped most recently at the top.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not waving, it's just weird exposure.
Servers that have wiped most recently at the top, going down, and then I could click group, and then people could have said max group 3, max group 5, max group no group, max group 1, and then they'd be listed in a descending
I don't know if any of you guys have played Ark, but they do that. They have
so it's not that hard. It's implementable then.
In the server list, they have what day it is on the server, and it goes from 0 to fucking 2,000-3,000. Like, and you can.
Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that? I'm sorry.
I'd love that. I can't find one fault out of that whatsoever.
That is, I think. I mean, to be honest, I love the devs. They've put so much effort in, so much work, but I think that's laziness. That start menu in Rust, when they're talking about trying to implement these extra bits to try and help noobs and whatever, that start menu, that beginning screen has been untouched since I started playing Rust 2 years ago. Nothing has changed on that.
And all they did was get rid of the good music.
Yeah,
the music was lit, bro. Yeah, fucking love that music. Such a good rendition. I feel like it's 2015 all over again.
2015. But yeah, I think that definitely needs to be something that is visited, because if I could, I mean, at the minute when I come to play Rust, every time I want to find a new server, in the search bar at the bottom, today, for an example, is the 23rd of June, so I would put 23 in that list, and it would come up with a lump of servers where somebody's put in the title that this wiped 23rd. And it's just bullshit.
And people somehow also fake the pop. You go on, and it says like
100 people on.
Yeah, when I'm streaming, I go for a really high populated solo server, for example. And I'm looking around, and there's like one dude over there hitting a fucking barrel, and there's no one else.
4 hours. No one else.
All I've seen is a scientist, and even he's bored because there's no one to fucking shoot.
He's just killing himself in the corner. He doesn't want anything to do with this shit.
He's using the guy account. He's just like, where the fuck is the highest radiation so I can take this thing off and kill myself.
He just puts his MP5 in his face. But right, okay, they were my key points, guys. Have you guys got anything else you want to say? You got any points? Phil, have you got anything left on your script that you had prepped?
I would like it where it's just.
Never mind that.
It's just a random idea, but I would like it where it was like 1% chance where when you kill the scientist, you could get their hazmat suit, and it's more rad protection than the other one, but obviously like with the damage changes that we talked about with like don't damage resistance, I think that would be cool. Like that would be like a sort out ideal. It's just like, oh well, you got more radiation protection now. Like
have they got 200%
Yeah.
health? They have.
Or is it 300? 200?
I think it's 300 actually.
Is it?
Yeah, but like they take a lot of bullets to the head. I think it's like 5 or 6 headshots with a crossbow to kill them as well.
Jesus.
So I think that would be a nice addition. Like if you don't find a gun, like maybe at least like get the hazmat, maybe like a 1% chance. Like just like, oh, you now have a hazmat that sinks radiation through, but now you have one that has less radiation sinking through.
It would be cool, to be fair, if that was like a minute chance that you did get that possibility of getting their blue suit, because then you could sort of run around with the blue suit on.
Yeah.
And pretend to be a scientist.
Yeah. Imagine that.
A group of 6 is running over the hill, and you're in a blue thing. So you just stand by a barrel and you just start going like this.
And the best thing about it is like you could proper trick people because like they have the flashlights on at night on the road. Just fucking go around with the flashlight,
and you just
walk around.
Your
All right, I hear
on
footsteps. I hear footsteps. All right, time to fucking get out of fucking DB.
You and your M9 just.
Yeah.
Oh, the plays that you can make with that shit, blending in. Yeah. That's what I missed as well. That's a good point. Something I've always wanted, because it's a survival game, right?
Yeah.
Imagine having trees trees of skill. So if if someone's a farmer, right? They wanted to up it. It wouldn't be crazy, but you could up it a tiny bit for X amount of farming you do. Or say you could, if someone was a survivalist.
Just to cut into you there, when the XP system was first mentioned, that was the idea.
They were speaking of that. Yeah, they were
speaking of making.
And I was hyped because I was like,
the more you farmed, the higher experience you got of farming, so you'd become more of a farmer, and then you generate more wood every time you farmed a tree.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
I would have loved, right? Because I'm all for being sneaky, right? I loved that aspect with a shh. I loved that aspect way back when, and I was pumped for when that was announced. I was like, sick. Imagine if they do a survivalist tree, where not crazy amount, but I could, learn to have my footsteps sound more like an animal, more like a scientist or something.
We talked about this before, didn't we? Where you could have, where you'd have a more delicate footstep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I'm going to mention the forest again. You've got your survival book.
Yeah.
Where you've got more strength. You've got your insanity. You've got your stamina.
Yeah.
Like, I love Rust that it doesn't have a stamina limit. If they ever implemented that, I'd be gone. To be honest.
Yeah. I'd be like, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm not running around for 400 fucking hours and walking. I had that issue in Memories of Mars before they removed it on that. When I was playing that, it was just bullshit. But the idea that you've maybe got some sort of skill progression tree, I wouldn't mind that coming into Rust.
Adapt it to the biomes as well. So the more time you spend in the snow biome, the more you'd adapt to the cold, perhaps.
Yeah. Or the arid desert.
Yeah, the
more
desert.
Hydration that you.
The more lizard-like you become, of course.
Alright, so we'll move on from that to a little bit of a different tact. Because obviously we've discussed the idea of Ben putting his phone down. Don't worry, you get that a lot.
I slam it on my desk.
He just throws it down like.
I don't.
I've got a big point that I would like to raise just as a community point, but I think the developers have tried to implement ideas of more of a role-play aspect. So we had the vending machine, we had shop fronts, we had ideas and elements like that, right? The chairs, the tables.
Oh, the amount of fun I've had with those.
Spinning wheels. But it's so hard to do with the idea that you've got people... Yeah, I mean, every time you go to try and talk to somebody, they kill you. But like, if you want to run a casino, give me the option, give me the element of running a casino. Give me sort of a 50-50 game. I know you've got the spinning wheel where you can make it yourself, but give me something that is literally 50-50.
But someone clicks it and they have a 50% chance of dying or living.
Exactly. If I want to run...
I want a saw house in Rust. I want them to walk in that room and not know if they're leaving alive or fucking dead.
Not even a casino. Give me more options of a roleplay aspect. And I guess I say this as a YouTuber, but there's a lot of people that play Rust for the interaction.
Yeah.
So why can't give me more games to play with people? Give me more options. I want the option where I can invite people into my base, my area, whatever, and we can play a game where it's 50-50 between the two of us of who's going to win, and one of us can bet X, one of us can bet Y. Make it so there's an option where that is a necessity. So I put in 50 stone, like a shop front. I put in 1,000 stone. They put in 1,000 sulfur, say. We've both got to click accept, and then there's a game at the end of it which wins us the other person's thing. Just put that in. Give us something to play for. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but what would stop you from, because he's in your base, right? What would stop you from, if you lose, just pulling out like a fucking shotgun and just...
Okay, ignore the fact that it's in my base.
I'd like that type of aspect implemented, but then I know that the devs could just come about and be like, well, that's your choice. It's a sandbox game. You can make whatever you want, because that is all down to basically personal preference and personal choice.
Give us the option to actually do it though.
I know, but you could just choose that yourself. That would be their counter argument. It's like, well, you could just do that yourself. You've got a spinning wheel. Put fucking spray paint 50 stone or spray paint.
Because if you really want to roleplay on Rush, you can go to a roleplay server, right? We've all seen the Mr. Moon, the candle maker can. We've all seen that, right? You can. Yeah, that's.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. Okay, so you've so you've said we've got to do it ourselves. Or the devs.
I'm not saying that's the
devs could put that in, but don't worry, Phil.
Would say that.
Don't worry, Phil. We've got new boats. That's what they've been working on.
And apparently, scientists on my sacred trash piles in the sea.
Yeah, they're fucked now. They were the solo man's dream. They're gone.
They were.
Solo players, go fuck yourselves. I like Gary's tweets on Twitter.
Not necessarily. They have the AI scientists on the roads that don't attack unless you attack. Maybe that's what they're doing with the water as well. Maybe because it's just random barrels in water, isn't it? Why would they be that protective over it?
Is that even right? Because I swear the scientists just shoot you if you're naked.
It would make sense to do that, because the loot in there isn't up to par where scientists would be like, you know what we need to do? We need to fucking spend military ammo and training on protecting those oil barrels in the water.
I don't know. I found a pickaxe once.
I've never found anything better than an axe or a pickaxe in the sea. I've never found a satchel.
I found fire arrows.
Okay, fire arrows. I've never found a revolver or a satchel or a bean can.
No,
I don't know if they're useful in there, but yeah, in the water.
Oh, yeah. I've sank my chair down.
They need to make those underwater fucking things more rewarding, because they
do. They're
when, you'd
you're going down there,
and you make them go up, and you find the best thing I've seen is a boat.
Yeah, you're going down there for 5 minutes out of your way to untie this thing, which takes 20 seconds to untie, and it floats up.
Yeah.
And up you go, and you've got yourself an empty can of tuna. Well done, mate. Go and drown yourself over there.
Okay, I don't want to.
Got anything.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be a dick per se, but I mean I guess it's an influx of myself, but I feel sometimes the devs put in elements of this game to cater to YouTubers.
E.g.?
That is the fucking boat thing where you can swim down. I think that's a clickbait title for YouTube videos. If I was playing this game properly, why would I go out to a boat if I didn't have to then swim down for no fucking reason whatsoever, when I could go to a fucking road and hit barrel and get the same fucking shit?
It adds, no pun intended, depth to the game, doesn't it? Because they're slowly adding to the sea. Because way back when, the sea, you used to look at the sea and think, I'm not fucking going in that useless pile of shit. Like, there's nothing for me there other than to run away from someone who's trying to freaking AK you.
Have either of you seen any videos on Stranded Deep or played Stranded Deep?
I've seen videos on Stranded Deep.
Hashtag broadbent.
Hashtag broadbent.
Right. Hi broadbent. So there's a lot of like sunken wrecks.
We do need sharks. We do need sharks. When I'm swimming around down there, I'm like, fuck. I wish there was a shark. Well, I don't because I
fucking hate sharks.
Imagine falling off your boat. When I fall off my boat, I'm like, oh, whoops. Let me just uncapsize it after 20 minutes of trying. I want to fall off my boat.
Like a fucking shit.
Yeah, I want to fall off my boat and be like, fuck, I'm gonna get gobbled up by a shark. Get me back on that boat. I want the fish.
And then they should change the loot tables of those boats, like more risk of getting your fucking face known off. But then be like, you could get an AK though.
But yeah, you could get. You might get a fucking.
Well, to be fair, I thought.
A Chinook.
Chinook.
I'm just spitballing.
Just falls out of the water.
Just drag out of a box a whole Chinook into your inventory.
Pull it by the fucking. I was going to say the horns. Let have horns.
Let's move out of the fucking realms of fantasy.
Check that tweet I just. You sent me this the other day, and I can't get enough of Gary's tweets.
Gary's tweets, man. Right, okay, we'll move out of that. Right, so Phil, I mentioned this to Ben before we started. This is my last point on my list before we get into your sort of just open suggestions. But this is something I wanted to mention to you guys. A problem that I've found with Rust for a very long time, if not the entirety of the time I've played Rust, is fake wiped community servers. So you go on, you click on the server list on Rust, you get into your home page, you click servers, community, whatever it is, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, and then it says wiped today's date,
and like an hour ago.
And an hour ago, and you join it,
and you're greeted. You're greeted by the biggest compound you've ever seen.
It's
someone taking the fucking heli with an M249, and you're like, well,
that wiped an hour ago. Alright.
Let's try again.
Why can't we implement a system, devs, if anybody does watch these videos, whereby we can search via wipe date, we can search via group size, we can search via pop, and we can search via wipe date, wipe time. Why can't we do that? Why isn't there a system? Because obviously when you put in the title when the server wiped, so you put today's date, whatever, 22nd of the 3rd, 2018. Why isn't that a setting on the actual server settings, so you could click at the top, search, and then it would list the servers that have wiped most recently at the top.
Yeah.
And then I'm still not waving. It's just weird exposure.
Servers that have wiped most recently at the top, going down, and then I could click group, and then people could have said max group 3, max group 5, max group no group, max group 1, and then they'd be listed in a descending order.
I don't know if any of you guys have played Ark, but they do that. They have.
So it's not that hard. It's implementable then.
In the server list, they have what day it is on the server, and it goes from 0 to fucking 2,000-3,000. Like, and you can.
Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that? I'm sorry.
I'd love that. I can't find one fault out of that whatsoever.
That is, I think. I mean, to be honest, I love the devs. They've put so much effort in, so much work, but I think that's laziness. That start menu in Rust, when they're talking about trying to implement these extra bits to try and help noobs and whatever, that start menu, that beginning screen has been untouched since I started playing Rust 2 years ago. Nothing has changed on that.
And all they did was get rid of the good music.
Yeah,
the music was lit, bro. Yeah, fucking love that music. Such a good rendition. I feel like it's 2015 all over again.
2015. But yeah, I think that definitely needs to be something that is visited, because at the minute when I come to play Rust, every time I want to find a new server, in the search bar at the bottom, today for an example is the 23rd of June, so I would put 23 in that list, and it would come up with a lump of servers where somebody's put in the title that this wiped 23rd, and it's just bullshit.
And people somehow also fake the pop. You go on, and it says like
100 people on.
Yeah, when I'm streaming, I go for a really high populated solo server, for example. And I'm looking around, and there's like one dude over there hitting a fucking barrel, and there's no one else.
4 hours. No one else.
All I've seen is a scientist, and even he's bored because there's no one to fucking shoot. Like,
he's just killing himself. He doesn't want anything to do with this shit.
He's using the guy account. He's just like, where the fuck is the highest radiation so I can take this thing on and kill myself.
He just puts his MP5 in his face. But right, okay, they were my key points, guys. Have you guys got anything else you want to say? You got any points? Phil, have you got anything left on your script that you had prepped?
I would like it where it's just.
Don't mind that.
I would. It's just a random idea, but I would like it where like it was like 1% chance where when you kill the scientist, you could get their hazmat suit, and it's more rad protection than the other one. But obviously, like with the damage changes that we talked about, with like don't damage resistance, I think that would be cool. Like that would be like a sort out idea. It's just like, oh well, you got more radiation protection now. Like,
have they got 200% health? They have.
Or is it 300? 200?
I think it's 300 actually.
Is it?
Yeah, but like they take a lot of bullets to the head. I think it's like 5 or 6 headshots with a crossbow to kill them as well.
Jesus.
So I think that would be a nice addition. Like if you don't find a gun, like maybe at least like get the hazmat, maybe like a 1% chance. Like just like, oh, you now have a hazmat that sinks radiation through, but now you have one that has less radiation sinking through.
It would be cool, to be fair, if that was like a minute chance that you did get that possibility of getting their blue suit, because then you could sort of run around with the blue suit on.
Yeah.
And pretend to be a scientist.
Yeah. Imagine that.
A group of 6 is running over the hill, and you're in a blue thing. So you just stand by a barrel and you just start going like this.
And the best thing about it is like you could proper trick people because like they have the flashlights on at night on the road. Just fucking go around with the flashlight,
and you just
walk around.
Your
All right, I hear
footsteps.
footsteps. All right, time to fucking get out of fucking DB.
You and your M9 just.
Yeah.
Oh, the plays that you could make with that shit, blending in. That's what I missed as well. That's a good point. Something I've always wanted, because it's a survival game, right?
Yeah.
Imagine having trees trees of skill. So if if someone's a farmer, right, they wanted to up it. It wouldn't be crazy, but you could up it a tiny bit for X amount of farming you do. Or say you could, if someone was a survivalist.
Just to cut into you there, when the XP system was first mentioned, that was the idea.
They were speaking of that. Yeah, they
were. Speaking of making,
and I was hyped because I was like,
the more you farmed, the higher experience you got of farming, so you become more of a farmer, and then you generate more wood every time you farm a tree.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
I would have loved, right? Because I'm all for being sneaky, right? I loved that aspect with a shh. I loved that aspect way back when, and I was pumped for when that was announced. I was like, sick. Imagine if they do a survivalist tree, where not crazy amount, but I could, learn to have my footsteps sound more like an animal, more like a scientist or something.
We talked about this before, didn't we? Where you could have, where you'd have a more delicate footstep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I'm going to mention the forest again. You've got your survival book.
Yeah. Where
you've got more strength. You've got your insanity. You've got your stamina.
Yeah.
Like, I love Rust that it doesn't have a stamina limit. If they ever implemented that, I'd be gone. To be honest.
Yeah. I'd be like, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm not running around for 400 fucking hours and walking. I had that issue in Memories of Mars before they removed it on that. When I was playing that, it was just bullshit. Alright guys, that is the end. I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. We've had some decent discussion about everything that I think and we think is an issue with Rust right now. problems, issues, solutions, everything. If you guys have enjoyed it, please do let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like. If you guys are interested in some more podcasts in the future, do let me know. If you guys would let me know down in the comments what you guys think of Rust right now. Obviously, the sort of player population is quite low right now, but it is on sale, so maybe that is going to pump some of those figures up. But let me know your thoughts if you do play. If you don't play, let me know why. Maybe that's just because of your computer, like Ben spoke about earlier, or because you don't have the game. Let me know. So thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Make sure you leave a like. I'll catch you in the next one. I've been Tilz. Make sure you check out Synthetic Kill and Keyworth. Their channels are linked in the description down below. But thank you guys very much for watching. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.